Hello, everyone. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from what time you're watching this. Welcome to your UI UX class. I'm your coach, Zeno Eduru, and I want to say it's good to have you as you embark on this journey of studying UI UX. And I promise to make it as simple as possible for everyone to understand what we are learning in this field of UI UX. So we're going to start with our module one, which is foundation of UI UX. Now, for the foundation of UI UX, I want you to know that whenever you're talking about UI UX, UI means user interface, user interface, and UX means user experience. Now, that is something that you should know whenever um, you're talking about UI UX. User interface is the design aspect of the UI UX, and UX is the user part of it, because that's what you actually relate with your users who are using your app. So let's just say you use an app, you use different apps every day, like your bank apps and your maybe your shopping app and all those many apps you use. Now these are the difference. You are the user using the app. Then the app itself is the user interface, which is the flow and everything. Then user experience is how you feel while using the app. Okay, now that's just the two. Then now for UI UX, there is something that you should know about it. Whenever you're doing UI UX, there are things that are involved while doing them, and we have the thing called the research. Now the research phase is where we talk to the clients and we ask questions about how and what they want to see, what they envision about the app that they're going to build or the website, because UI UX is not only just based on um, a an app product. It deals on both an app and also website product. That's what UI UX, and basically we call it a product design. Product design. Yeah, you can call UI UX product design too. And also, from research, when you do research, which is the first step you do, you ask questions, you deal with clients, and you know what they want for, like what they envision for their brand or for their product. That's the research stage. The next one is the ideation, and the ideation process is when you come up with the idea as a designer, which is you're giving a maybe you're giving an application to build a website, and then you're told to maybe do um, an advert. So basically, the app will be advertising things on that app. So you know that okay, you're going to do different things like research on what advert they want to do on that app and different areas that can actually function well when people are using it, like the buttons and everything mixed together. Now, when you have come up with all those things, including the images you will use, which is the ideation process, you go into prototyping. Now, for prototyping is you showing the app at work, you showing the app at work. And these are phases that we go through when we are doing this UI UX course. Now, for the first phase, we're going to just talk, which is the theory aspect, which we are starting with now. Now, for prototyping, now let's go into the definition of prototyping. Now, for prototyping, what we do in prototyping is that you show the user how it flows. And prototyping and testing phase, they are almost the same, like they're on the same level, because when you finish prototyping, it will now go into the testing phase, which people will actually use the app on their phone, and that's where you see them texting what buttons lead to this page, what buttons lead to the shop page, and maybe different places in the app or the website. Now iteration is the final stage, which is based on the development, and maybe there's an error, you come back to it, you fix it, and everything is on the iteration phase. That's the last stage of UI UX. But UI UX, it's not the final stage, because at the end of it, people will still come back to do corrections and different um, changes might occur. Like that is why you see versions being updated every time. You see, you have an app, you always update it. Now that's the stage. You have to come back again and do some corrections and be like, maybe this UI is too complicated. Let's just change some things inside. That is the whole body of UI UX. Now, when you're doing UI UX, you should know that there is a collaboration between the designer, developers, and stakeholders. Now, you might ask yourself the question, okay, we know that we're designers, we're going to design, right? So developers are needed to actually develop that app you built. Developers are needed. You should know that very well. Developers are needed. And when you're working with developers, you should make sure, and I'm gonna teach you that, how to make sure that you know what and how your working process is when you're working with developers. And when we go to stakeholders is anyone who is interested in your project or with whom you need to work with in some ways to complete the project. Now, stakeholders might be people who want to support the project, who have heard about your project and want to support it, and maybe people who are also involved in that kind of idea that you have. Like maybe you want to build a ticket sale app. Let's use that for an example. So when you say you want to build that app, there might be someone who is interested and wants to fund that application you want to build. That's who you call a stakeholder. Now, for bringing these ideas to life, use we commonly use two softwares, which is Figma and SD. Now, these are the two main ones that I use, and that's what we are going to learn during the process of the UI UX class. And for Figma, Figma is it's an online platform, and it's also um, an app. So it's a software and an app. And SD2 is a software and an app too, because when you're on your Adobe um, browser, you can actually open SD from there. Then if you but then you have to pay for it. That's the thing we have different. But um, during the class, I will actually drop places that you can actually download it for free. And for Figma, which is the main tool that we normally use as designers, it's really helpful, and it has a lot of things that we can do on Figma. It's a mix of, I would say, it's a mix of PowerPoint. Yeah, it's a mix of PowerPoint and After Effects because things are really done on Figma that are mind blowing. Okay, so let's skip that part since we know that these are the two tools that we're using. So let's go back. Now, when building an app, there are some things that are very necessary for it to function. Number one, useful. It must be useful. That app must be useful. Now, ensuring the product which you are creating serves a clear purpose and meets user needs effectively. That's very important. I know that we want to actually design something that is so fine. You want that thing to be so beautiful, but at the end of it, your user, your users must know and must understand that app. You know, they must know. So whenever you're doing it, you should make sure that it is useful. And how do you do this? By making your research. By making your research. Now we'll explain that later on. Now, the app must be usable. Now, designing intuitive and effective interface that allows users to complete tasks effortlessly. You should know that whenever they click this button, they are buying it. They should know if this button, if I'm clicking it, I'm saving it for later. They should know if I'm sharing this, if I click this button. Those are the things that are usable. Like this app, I know that if I'm clicking this, it's leading me to this place. That is something. Now, for the part of being desirable, let's go back. The part of being desirable, creating visually appealing and emotionally engaging experiences that enhances user satisfaction. Now, these visually appealing and emotionally engaging experiences is when the user is actually on the app. How do you do that? These are what you you tell stories through your images, through your icons, and through the process flow. That's how you do it. You make sure that the images are good, they're engaging. When you go to an app and then you see some images, you say, okay, now this is what the image is talking about. That's how it is desirable. Now whenever you do that, you make the people and the user feel like, wow, this app is actually speaking to me. That is something. So create an emotion whenever you are doing a design for an app, a UI design. Now let's go to the next one. Next one is accessible. Now make the program into inclusive for all users, including those with disabilities. What am I saying? We have this thing called dark mode and light mode. Now, imagine when you use light mode, you know that people can actually see more of that app, right? That's something you should make sure. Now, whenever you're building an app, you should make sure that one has a dark mode and one has a light mode. Why? It is very important because when one has a light mode, many people can see that, and people are still using white mode. Like if you know that it's for maybe people who are middle-aged upwards, you know that they want the white mode because it is easy to read, easy to see, easy to understand. But for people who are young, we prefer the dark mode because we can actually see it. So you should make sure that it is accessible to everyone. Not only that that mode is important, but there are some different things that you should make sure after research that is important that you put when creating your app to make it accessible. Now, valuable, delivering measurable benefits to users and stakeholders, ensuring long-term engagement. Valuable. Make sure the app converts. Make sure the app converts. Make sure the website converts. That is something that you should know. When designing anything, you should make sure that when they are on the site, they are flowing with the site. They want to take something from that site, not just building a site and then it's a website. Make sure that it is actually converting by the visuals, by everything they go, like they are happy, it's fast, it's loading fast, it has visually appealing images, and those things that will make people drawn to your website or your app. That is what will make your app valuable. Remember that. Okay. Now let's go further to what we have next. Now, for what we have next, we have um now we have importance of UI UX in product success. Now let me just increase it so that you see it more. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so importance of UI UX in product success. We have enhancing user experience. Okay, so in when it comes to in product success, right, we have a well-designed UI UX ensures that users can navigate the product easily, find the need, find what they need. That's what I've been explaining since. Find what they need and complete task effectively. You see, you don't just need a fine app, you need something that can actually work. Now, a seamless experience leads to higher user satisfaction and engagement. You see? Now, everything you should know about building an app or a website is that your user is the person you're building it for. So make sure that whenever you are building an app or building a website, the user should be your target. Your target. Every time, your target is the user. Okay? Now let's go for the next one. It said increases user retention. Okay, yes, it does. It does. Now, how do we do it? If users find an app or website intuitive and pleasant to use, they are more likely to return. You see, they are more likely to return. Poor UX, on the other hand, can drive users away quickly. That's the thing. Whenever you're doing this, make sure like your your flow is it's fast, your loading speed is fast, your call to action works very fine. Those things are what makes users stay and want to come back and recommend to people to use that app or website. Now, for number three, it boosts conversion rates. A well optimized UI UX simplifies decision making, and encourages users to take desired actions, whether it's making a purchase, signing up, or exploring further. You see, that's the thing. You want to make a purchase, they will know that okay, yes. So whenever they have a simplified outcome of your app, that's why you should make sure when you're doing UI UX, make sure it is simplified. Make sure it is always simplified. It is very important to make sure that your app is simplified, right? So basically your user understands, your user can flow through, and they can actually use the app very, very seamlessly, and very, very um, at peace. Not the one that people will be confused when using the app, that kind of thing. It causes people to leave and not come back. That can actually reduce the rates that it converts. So for number four, yeah, you know, reduce development cost. Now, investing UI UX early in the design process helps identify and fix usability issues before development, reducing the need for costly revision and rework later. Now, UI UX is very important when it comes to development because I told you that we have the research, right? The research, ideation. Now, after the ideation, you go into the prototyping, then the prototyping, testing, and then we have the iteration. Now, you see that whenever you're done the research, sorry, whenever you're done the research, you should make sure that you've done the research to the point that yes, you understand. So whenever you build the app, now before we go to building an app, you know that it is UI UX that you're doing, right? So when you're designing the app for a UI, it should be easy for them to develop. You make sure that you put your frames, make sure you put your, now I'm just listing them because you're going to do them. So we're going to be dealing on frames, we're going to be dealing on uh, variants, components, and different areas in which you're going to use for your layouts. All those things are important whenever you're doing it, because when you fix it on the UI, development will be easy, and anything can be adjusted before development too, so to make sure that your app comes out successful. Now for the next one, it strengthens your brand reputation. Now, reputation is very good. When you use an app, you make sure that wow, this app is really nice. Like mostly all of us use Spotify. Why? Because you see how many things they do. Spotify. That is just the explanation for number five. Spotify. You see, a sleek and user-friendly interface enhances the brand's credibility. Now, everybody wants to subscribe to Spotify. Why? Because the app is good. You see, that's why. Because people associate good design with trustworthiness and professionalism. That's what they do. So always know that. Now, competitive advantage. In a saturated market, a superior UI UX can set a product apart. You see that? When you have a superior design, when you have superior functionality, it sets your product apart from the others. You see? Now see, users naturally gravitate towards products that offer ease of use and pleasant experience. Like I said, everything leads back to your user. User is the number one thing. You get that, right? Now, for your next one, it improves accessibility. A well thought out UI UX considers diverse user needs, including those with disabilities, ensuring that more people can use and benefit from the product. You see? So basically, someone has a disability and can't read well, you know that you can actually increase the size of text. Now, all these things are options. Those things are things that you can do at the UI. The UI is very, very important. Now, the thing about doing designs that you see on small text, people can't read. But if you make it bold, people can read it. Like more people can read it and it can be adjusted. These are things that are important. Like maybe you have a default settings which can be changed. That's important. So make sure that you know that you're making for the whole, you know the people that you're making it for. So you make sure that things are accessible and easy to use on that app. Okay, now let's go for the last one, which is encourages word of mouth marketing, which I said when people use your app and they see the UI is very good, that thing someone might recommend it to A, will recommend it to B will recommend it to C will recommend it to D. That's how it goes, and that's how it goes, and you see that it will spread because of user experience. You see, that's it. So always remember that your user is the end goal. No matter how fancy you want it to be, make sure that your user is along with it. Like your user can be the client number one, but you make sure that people too, because when it comes to testing phase, it's not only the user, it's not only your client that will be using it. Your client's um, target audience will be using it. So put in mind that your user is not only your client, it's the people who are going to get the app from your client. So your client might be the number one person, and then the people who are a target audience will be getting the app from your client. That's the thing. So let's just say you are the designer, your client is let's just say Spotify. Let's use Spotify now. So Spotify users are people who are listening to music, right? Everybody listens to music. So you know that you're designing for people who want to listen to different genres of music, like genres of music. You have hip hop, you have pop, you have different things. So you know that you put the different music choices there, and that's it. That's one way. Make sure that the text is readable. That's one way. Make sure that you can switch settings. Maybe there's a language. That's one way. Different ways. You see? There are different ways to do it. Now, in conclusion, UI UX is not just about the aesthetics, like I said. It's about functionality, efficiency, and user satisfaction. A product with a strong UI UX foundation stands a much higher chance of success in the marketplace. Remember that. Remember that. Now, let's look at some examples. Now, for number one, we're going to look at this example. It's just a landing page for a mobile phone sale. Now, you can see what happens. We can see that we have the button here, the button, then we have the price. Now, these are the things that will actually make people stay in your site. Now, you see the text, you see there's an explanation there, and then you see the button, and then you see the price. Now, we see the phone too. These are important. These are the important factors. We have the text, we have the introduction, we have the exacts, which are the from 5.99 or 24.95 per month. Those things are the important things. When someone comes to your site, this is what I want to see. I want to see the text, I want to see the write up, I want to see the button, I want to see the price. Those are the important things in a website design or in an app development. Those things are important. Okay, now like I said, was the we saw the main test, we saw the exact, which is explaining what you can do to get the phone. Now buy now is here, then the price is here. You see? Now the next one, let's go for the next one. Now next one is just another version of the first one. Now if you notice the first one, we didn't have something called learn more. We only had the text, we only have the text here, and this one, now you can see there's buy now and the price, but this next one has more details. It has somewhere you can click that will take you to the full detail about the um the phone you want to buy. Now in your own opinion, what would you choose? What would you think? Like what would you choose as a landing page? Would you choose the first one or the second one? Okay, so I'll ask you maybe later on. That will be a question on your text. Sorry, on your test. I will set that. So you choose between the first one or the second one. Okay, now for the next one, we're going to look at another landing page again. Now you notice something. The information are very clear. Now you enter the site. What do you see? It shows you that now for you looking at this site, you understand that first of all, they actually do free shipping all over the world, and the and there is a free shipping for orders that are above $105. So you know that when you enter the site and you're buying something, if you buy things that are over $105, you have free shipping. You see, that's one thing important. Then there's a place that you can actually change the currency and the language right here. Then you see the logo of the brand, and you see for men, women, gift back, our story, and then you have your profile, you have your shopping cart, and then you have your search. Now, these are the important factors when you're working on a website. If it's a shopping website, you should know the things that you should add. If it's just a simple website, you should know the things that you should add. And that's why the questioning and research is very important when you're designing. And then you have the button, shop for men, shop for women, and then you have your customer text box. So when you click on this, you can actually send messages to the brand, and then you can get a reply through the chat box or an email. These are functions that you should reason whenever you're designing a UI for a website. Okay, and also it also goes for both the phone version and the web version too. So the next one is this. Now, I told you about pictures, right? Being a way of actually reflecting how you feel. I told you about pictures. They're important. Like the first one now we already know is about fashion. We saw the girl on the left, we saw the guy on the right, and we can see that they are wearing something fashionable. The guy's wearing a t-shirt and a cap. Ladies wearing glasses and a hat. Now those things are what I said. Pictures being an attention grabber when you come into a site. The design is one, but then the photos and the buttons are next. So you know that okay, if you're clicking here, you're shopping for men. If you're clicking here, you're shopping for women. So you understand. That's the thing about being when you have a picture and then it describes, and then you have buttons that are actually working and all those things necessary. Now for the next one, we have the foundation, which is a donation platform for maybe children who are less privileged or people who are um, without, maybe orphans too. So now you can see the way that it is designed. We have the header. The header has the different pages, which is fighting poverty, our courses, news and events, contacts, and donate and search. So now this the buttons were made there because the research has been done. And yeah, the animation is one thing we also learned too during the time here. Now you see how everything is drawing you. Now you see that what is grabbing your attention. Now you have the animation saying your support goes a long way. Your support goes a long way. Now you see the interaction that is being made on the website is saying the call to action is saying process your donation. Now you see the idea behind it. That is the knowledge. That's knowledge. You should make sure that you have your thinking. You go, you think deep. What would people want to see on the website? What would they be drawn to? Those are the things that you should actually reason whenever you're creating a website. Okay, now let's go for the next one. Now the next one is actually a simple website, and it's just for a news pulse lab. Now this um, was just a simple design which was made to just describe how to place things. Now for placing things, we notice that we have a sign up and log in this thing on the right, and then we have the logo and the buttons, which is the pages on the left, and then we have the text on the left too. Now, like I said, attention grabbers and information sake. How do we do it? Now, the new sports lab, according to them, they sell UI kits. Now, the first thing we see is new article because they want people to actually read about their article. Now, you see the idea? That's one importance to put there. And then the next thing they showed you what they do. the best Figma UI kits for web designer. Now, yeah, you might have used UI kit from the article to make this cover image. You see, those are words that actually, drag you to say, oh wow, okay, I actually did this. Those are the things. So let your text be a winning factor on your website. That text, that opener text, let it be a winning factor for your website. Okay, now those are just information. Now let's go for the next one. Next one, we go for this. Now, this will be the last one for your module one. And you can see I actually have applied all the components. Now for this one, you can see that when you can see um, what goes through a user when using an application. Now you're listening to music, right? You go into the channel, your page on the um, the music album you have on your phone. You go there, and this is the home, and this is the music. You can see the different buttons. Now you see different buttons and the action. Now whenever it is clicked, the color changes. You can see that the white on the home here when it's playing is different from here because this was the page here. So every page has to make sure that it has an action. So this color changes when it comes to the main. This is your home, and then when you are playing the music, it changes the music icon. You can see that those are the important factors. Those are important factors. Okay. Now you see that the action was done by clicking on this one. Okay. Now this is an expanded view of this because it was done by clicking here. This clicks here and takes you here. Now I will just pause this video and I will make it an action so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, everyone. Now I made it a single screen and we want to see what prototyping and interaction does when we're working on an app. Okay. Now, like I said, when you are actually on an app, you make sure that something you touch or something you click will lead you to another screen, which will show you the full information of what you have clicked on. Okay. Now, for the image you showed previously, I showed you that the image expands and then it shows what it's playing. You clicked on something, you click on the music you want to actually play, and then it starts playing. That is the way users want to feel when they are clicking on a button or clicking on an action. Okay, so we're going to do that now. So now we chose this, right? This is the music we have, and then we click on it. This is what happens. Click on it, and then it starts playing. You see, that's an action. And the action was completed by actually doing it in a way that it will go into the next phase, that the person wants to feel that experience, that yes, this thing will play. You see, that's the action. And yeah, so this is everything about the foundation of UI UX, and these are things that we're actually going to create in this course. And I believe that we are all pumped and excited for what we're going to do next. And yeah, we've come to the end of module one. And thank you for sticking to the end of this first module. And I'll see you in the next.